A lot of you have probably seen my photo dump and video dump that I put of all things Disney and our trip to Orlando. I want to kind of go into detail about what we did with our trip in hopes that maybe a family like ours, a family of 5, or somebody that is traveling to Disney World for the very first time and doing all of the things gets some sort of insight and help to be able to plan your trip and not let it go awry, kind of like ours did. We had a lot of highs, but we also had a lot of lows. And since it was our first time to Magic Kingdom with 3 people, 3 babies, there was a lot to experience and a lot that Brett and I learned. So we're going to start from the beginning and work our way to the end. And then if you have any questions or comments, then go ahead and let me know, and I will do my best to answer them and get you the information that you're hoping for so that you can have a magical time at Magic Kingdom. So we just did Magic Kingdom while we were there in Orlando. We spent 4 days. It was 2 days of traveling there and back since we live in Utah. So 2 days traveling, and then 2 days where we did 1 day with Magic Kingdom and 1 day at the water park at our resort that we were staying at. So we did have a lot of fun, and our kids are still talking about it. They had so many good highlights with this trip. So I'm glad that we took it, but there were a lot of things for us to figure out. So I had originally, like a week prior to us leaving to Florida, I had asked on Facebook, kind of like for tips and tricks for people who had already been to Disney World with little ones, because Brett and I took London and Lincoln to like Epcot and Animal Kingdom. It's almost been, well, I was pregnant with Riley, like barely pregnant with Riley. So it's been a minute, but we were able to maneuver pretty easily with just the 2 of them, with them being so little, and the stroller that we took. So the stroller that we took, and we also took it this time around, was, it's like a super compact stroller, but then you also can add one of those boards that they stand up on top of. So you have someone in the stroller and then someone on the board behind you. And that worked for us the first time around. Now this time around, people had suggested that we needed a double stroller. And honestly, it would have been nice to have the double stroller, because I didn't realize that at any point in time while we were traveling through Magic Kingdom, one of our kids was going to need to be held. And that was pretty much how it went. Someone had to be held almost the entire time. It just... little kids, big feelings. So London is almost 5, and Lincoln is 3.5, and Riley is 15 months. So we went with our 3 littles. So kind of our day, and these are kind of the things that I'm hoping you get out of so that you can save a little money but still be able to have fun. So originally, we wanted to get there like right when it opened. And in order for us to do that, we were gonna have to have breakfast, like not in the park, do all of the things beforehand, wake up super early. So I got up early. I think I was up by like 6:30 and made sure that I was ready myself, and then all of our stuff packed. So that way we could get out the door, get breakfast. We were gonna originally do like a sit down breakfast because my kids love breakfast and they're very picky eaters. And so breakfast is their huge meal for the day. And then they taper off with eating throughout the rest of the day. So I wanted them to have like a good meal going into their bodies, because we were gonna be walking all day and I knew they needed some sort of energy. So we were gonna do a sit down restaurant. Unfortunately, they all slept in, and so the sit-down restaurant didn't happen. But what we did instead was go grab Chick-fil-A breakfast, and they kind of munched on that, honestly, for like a couple hours while we were at the park. So we didn't actually have to buy real food at the park while we were there. We did food outside of the park the whole entire day. And then I had like a huge bag of snacks that I know that they love. They're like the staples in our house, and they munched on those until we had gone out of the park as well. So Chick-fil-A for breakfast, and then we got into Magic Kingdom. Now, they have a couple options for parking. You can do a standard parking, which the prices may change, but for us it was standard parking for $35, or you could upgrade to like the VIP parking to where you're like right at the very front, and we did that for $55. So it's only $20 more for us to be able to walk a very short distance and not have to go through their transportation. The little shuttle buses that they use, we didn't have to use them. We were close enough that we could just walk with the stroller and with the kids. So that was great. I would highly recommend doing the VIP parking, especially if you're like park hopping, because it's good for all of the parks for the day, or if you're going to be leaving and then coming back, which is what we did, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So we got in there, did the VIP parking, parked, got everyone set up, made sure we had our food, walked in, and we arrived probably at like 8:45, I think, and the park opens at 9 if you are not like a special guest and get to do the early access at 8:30. So we get into the first part of the park, and I've never been to Magic Kingdom before, so I don't know what it's like. This is my first time experiencing it. Brett has been he lived in Florida for a time, and so he has been to all of the things, knows pretty much everything. It's been a little bit over a decade since he had been, so it was a little bit unfamiliar, but he pretty much knew the whole spiel about Disneyworld and everything. So we get in there, and the monorail is not working, so we have to go onto the ferry boat, but it was so much fun to be able to experience that. So we get onto the ferry boat. We are just leaving the dock, and over here to our left, a poor mom and her daughter who had to have been like 3, probably Lincoln's age. She had like an iced coffee or something. I'm not sure what it was, since I don't drink coffee or caffeine, but it was brown and it had ice in it, so I'm gonna assume that's what it was. She somehow ended up spilling this drink that she had all over her daughter and all over the stroller that her daughter is sitting in. So we're over here kind of off in the corner and seeing all this go down, and this little one is crying, and thank goodness there were a bunch of people around and they all stepped in to help. But we felt so bad that literally right at the beginning of their awesome fun day that they had planned, something like that happened. And accidents happen all of the time, but like I'm telling you this, just like be aware, be careful about the things that you bring in. Make sure if you have drinks and stuff, like keep them to where you can try to avoid having accidents like that. She only had like wipes to be able to clean up the whole mess and everything, and I'm sure it put a damper on their day a little bit. So that was, it is what it is. But with little kids, things like that happens. So just be prepared for the accidents, and then just let them go and then have fun. So we get in, and the first thing we get in, and we go up the main street and then past the castle, and London had to stop by the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. We told her she couldn't go inside and actually do all of the fun stuff since it is a little bit on the pricey side, but she wanted to see the dresses. So we walked inside, she got to see the dresses, and then right next to the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, they have a carousel. And if you know my kids whatsoever, when we go to Thanksgiving Point, the carousel is the main thing. They always want to do the carousel. We make sure anytime that we're up like Lehigh area, we are doing the carousel. So we got in line for this carousel. They absolutely loved it, and Riley got to hold on by herself for the very first time, and I took a couple pictures and videos of it. It was so fun. The carousel they love, so it's always a highlight. So that was our first thing that we did. And then next we went over to Pirates, because Brett says the line is normally ridiculously long, and since it was the beginning of the day, we were able to get in really quickly. So we parked our stroller, we got into Pirates. Now, the other, London and Lincoln loved it, but Riley, bless her heart, she cried through most of it because it was way too dark for her liking. And then at the very, very end of Pirates, which I didn't know did this, there's like a big, huge drop off on the boat, and she screamed when that happened, and so it took a minute to calm her down. But everybody else, like, we loved all of the rides. Everybody else loved the rides. It was just Riley that had a little bit of a hard time. She's only 15 months old, so it was inevitable that she wasn't gonna like something. So we got to do Pirates. We ended up grabbing our stroller and we headed over to Aladdin's Magic Carpet Ride. And if you know Brett, he's extremely afraid of heights. And if you saw my story, I had a little snippet of us doing the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse, and he's just like losing his mind over how high up we were and trying to just focus on getting down after we climbed all the way up to the top of the treehouse. Anyway, let's back up real quick. We did Aladdin's Magic Carpet Ride, and Brett stayed behind with the baby because he doesn't like being up in the air. So that's why I mentioned that. So it was just me and London and Lincoln on Aladdin's Magic Carpet Ride. And later, when I asked Lincoln what his favorite thing was that he did at Magic Kingdom, he said it was Aladdin's Magic Carpet Ride. So I'm glad that he had a lot of fun. So we finished that, and then we moved on to the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse. We did that. They had a blast climbing up the treehouse and then being able to kind of see out and then go back down. And then we moved on to our next spot. Then was when our fiasco started. We get back to our stroller, and we were gonna stop by the restroom so that everyone could go to the bathroom, and then we could reapply our sunscreen before we went out for the rest of the time. And when I go to grab our sunscreen bag, which I actually got from Bunko, I won it as a Bunko gift, which makes me sad, but it was not in the stroller for some reason. And I looked everywhere, and I asked Brett, do you know where the sunscreen bag is? Did you move it? Is it in the diaper bag? Where is it? So we start looking. It's not anywhere around us next to the restroom. So I say, okay, I'm gonna retrace our steps. We've only been to 3 things at this point. We didn't go very far. So I basically walked around that whole section of stuff only to not find it. So it's sad because if you know me, you know that I am a Mary Kay beauty consultant and love all things Mary Kay and all of their products. Well, inside this bag that I won from Bunko, I have specific things for sunscreen and being out in the day. Well, all of the things inside were new, and I had let's see, it was an SPF 30 mineral sunscreen, an SPF 50 face and body sunscreen. I had energizing lotion for your feet and your legs for when they get super tired and worn out and you need a little boost. These are all Mary Kay products. I had that in there. I had a foundation brush because I like to apply sunscreen on my kids with a foundation brush. It makes it so much easier and they move around a lot less. And so I had that, my sunglasses, and some Icy Hot that was in there. And I think that's everything. But that was a lot. It's a lot of product, and I had my after sun replenishing gel in there. So I had like 6 or 7 things that were inside of this baggie that we needed for the whole entire day. And of course, right at the beginning of the day, it goes missing. Have no idea. Honestly think that somebody stole it. And of course, I checked like the lost and found and everything at the end of the day, and nothing. So I bet that once somebody found the huge pot of gold, they just kept it and were like, this is amazing. All of these products are brand spanking new and I can use this. So it was a really sad day and I was angry. I was definitely angry. And it took a little bit for me to get over the fact that we lost this bag and all of the things inside it. So that was fun. So because we didn't have our sunscreen, what did we have to do? Go buy sunscreen. And 1 bottle of sunscreen in any of their little shops is like 25 bucks. So there goes 25 bucks down the drain because we lost one of our bags. So keep your things close and make sure like they're not visible, and maybe you have like a big bag or something that you can lock up with your stroller or whatever. Just make sure that No one else can take your stuff. I really do think somebody stole it and it didn't just get lost. I would think that if it just got lost, someone might be a good Samaritan and put it in the lost and found for me to find. But anyway, so it's gone. It's a good thing I'm a consultant because I can get all of that stuff and I have all the product at home. But in the moment, it was a bummer. So there's that. So after our sunscreen, after we bought more sunscreen, I told the kids specifically, I had a specific dollar amount of money that I earned from selling my Mary Kay products that I brought with me to be able to spend at Magic Kingdom. So part of what we spent was on Mickey ears. Mickey ears are so much fun and you totally have to have them. So I got some for me, I got some for Lincoln, and I got some for London. Baby, she didn't need it, and Brett couldn't care less about having them. So we got some Mickey ears, took some pictures, and then moved on to our next adventure. So we went and did It's a Small World, and London was so excited, and she loved all of the little people and the figurines and whatnot in it, that I think that one is tied for her favorite ride, with another one that I'll tell you about a little bit later. So we did It's a Small World, and she asked if we could go again, and I told her if we had time after we had tried to get on all of the other rides, we would go back and do it. We didn't have time, but we were able to do so much stuff within the day, and this is why. After It's a Small World, we went and visited Belle, and then London got to participate in this big story that they end up doing with Belle at Belle's house. So it was a lot of fun, and she totally enjoyed it. And if you saw any of the pictures, she enjoyed it, but she also gets very afraid when she's in front of a lot of people. And so you can see the stage fright in her. And I'm proud of her for being able to even get up and do it. Lincoln was like, heck no, I'm not going to be a part of this whatsoever. And so he just watched with the rest of us. But Belle was really fun. And then after that, it was probably like 1 o'clock, Lincoln started having a hard time. It was getting really close to nap time, and we knew we were gonna have to actually do like a full-on nap time because the kids still need them, and it's a long day, we're out in the sun, all of the things. So Lincoln started losing his mind, and everybody around us was like, oh my gosh, what is going on with this kid? And there wasn't any calming him down. We went to, there's a Mike and Sully, it's not a ride, but you sit down and it's like they tell jokes and whatnot, and it was funny. And that was the point where Lincoln just started losing it. He needed to be held and just needed probably lunch and all of the things. And so we decided we were going to leave the park then. And he pretty much cried the whole entire time to the car. So that was fun, getting all of these looks and stares. But thank goodness we parked in the VIP parking. So we were actually pretty close from where Main Street is in Magic Kingdom. So we ended up taking a break. We went back to our resort, and we just got everybody to sleep. Everybody took a nap. So I think it was about 2:30 when everyone fell asleep. Kind of little by little, they all started dropping off. 2:30, and then 4:45 rolls around, and I was conked out too. And Brett comes and's like, hey, we should probably wake everybody up and get back there. We're never gonna get back to the park to be able to enjoy the rest of the day. So it was a full 2-hour nap. It was heaven. It was complete heaven. And then everyone was in such a much better mood. It was like our daytime experience compared to our nighttime experience was like, it was night and day. And the nighttime experience was the best part. So we were able to, we woke everybody up, got back in the car, we grabbed Wendy's for dinner. They started eating it in the car and then finished it as we were getting back into Magic Kingdom and starting to do all the other things. And they were just kind of munching here and there. So it was really nice. It like spread out our meals. And so we only got 2 meals for the day, and saved a ton of money by not doing stuff at the park. Now, I know a lot of people are like, but you have to try this, you have to try that. I think we'll do that when they're older, but for now, like, since they're so picky, we weren't going to spend like $20 per person for them to enjoy something that they could get outside of Magic Kingdom for a decent price that they'll still eat. So that was our nice tip and trick, was saving a little bit of money, getting something they want, and then they could snack on it pretty much all day long. Okay, so after Wendy's, we got back into the park by about 6 p.m. and they stay open until 11. So we were there from 6 until 11, and the baby did amazing. She had her great nap, and I actually think she stayed awake the whole time after that. She did take like a quick nap in like the morning time. So she had her quick nap and then regular nap in the middle, and then she stayed awake the whole rest of the time until they all conked out in the car on the way home. We did Dumbo very first when we got back, and they loved that. It's very similar to Aladdin, and so they of course loved that. And Brett actually got on that ride with Lincoln, and then I took the 2 girls with me and another elephant. Then we went and did the racetrack, and the racetrack was the only thing that Riley couldn't participate in. And so they have a thing where you can do like a parent swap. So we got set up to do the parent swap. I went first with London and Lincoln on the racetrack, and then we took a video, and London drove the car and just had a blast, and we laughed the whole entire time. She was crazy. And then as soon as we were done, we went back, and then I took the baby, and Brett was able to go right in because of this parent swap feature that they have. He was able to go right in with the kids and do it again. And then that time Lincoln got to drive the car. So they all got to be in the car, and they got to do it twice. So that parent swap, it was actually really cool, and I'm glad we got to experience it. And you can do it for multiple rides, so you have an option to be able to do that. And then yeah, Riley wasn't able to ride that, but her and I had a lot of fun waiting and doing other things while the kids went with Brett on that ride, and it was fun. So the next thing we did a couple of them that I can't remember what their names are, but they were a lot of fun. One was like up in the air, and then it takes you all throughout one part of the park. And I just can't remember what it is, but that was a fun one. It was really slow, but they like tell you all the things about that specific area. So it was really fun. And the kids enjoyed it, and it was nice to be able to sit for a minute since we've been walking all over around the park for the day. Then we did the teacups. London requested that we did the teacups, the Mad Hatter teacups. And then next after that, we went to the railroad. And the railroad closes at like the last thing you can do for the railroad is 8:45 to get on it and then be able to travel around Magic Kingdom. And we had heard that fireworks start at, not the fireworks, the parade starts at 9 p.m. and they start right at Main Street. So the railroad actually takes you from that back corner of the park all the way to Main Street, where you can stop, and then they go the rest of the way. So we didn't ride the whole railroad, but what we did was stop, get off on Main Street, find a cool spot for the parade. We watched the whole entire parade, and then as soon as the parade ends, a whole bunch of people are like right behind the last parade float just walking through Main Street. So we actually did that, and the kids thought they were in the parade, and they thought it was amazing, and they totally loved it, and it was fun. And then they were getting prepared to do the fireworks at 10 p.m. So from like 9:20 after the parade ends to 10 o'clock, a lot of people are leaving because their kids are ready to go home and whatnot, and so it clears out a ton. So I 100% recommend staying at the park until 11 p.m. and just like get through it, because you can do so much more when there are way less people there. So we went, and all day long, London wanted to do the aerial ride. And all day long, the wait time just kept getting longer and longer and longer. So I hopped on the app that they have to be able to tell you the wait times and whatnot. And Ariel was like a 5-minute wait because everyone was already leaving, or they were seeing the parade, or staying there to be able to see the fireworks, like all the things. So we quickly got up to Ariel and got straight on. And then from there, we stopped and saw the fireworks. As soon as the fireworks were over, we were able to do Peter Pan. The kids got some bubble wands. That was another thing I got, let them purchase with my Mary Kay money. They got bubble wands. And then we went and straight did Haunted Mansion and Jungle Cruise. Now, Peter Pan, Haunted Mansion, and Jungle Cruise and Ariel were like 45-minute lines all day long. And we got to do all 4 of those between 10:15 and 11 p.m. So there was no wait. We got right on. It was amazing. And they were so much fun. Each of the rides were so much fun. So we ended with Jungle Cruise. And we had like the most outgoing tour guide for that one, and he was hilarious. I thought it was fun. And so we ended the night doing Jungle Cruise, and it was 11 p.m. And by the time the park closes, there are so many people that are going to the monorail or to the ferry. And I think they have like shuttle buses as well. So there's like 3 options, 3 ways to be able to get out of the park, which I didn't know originally, but Magic Kingdom is like fully encompassed by water, which is so fun, but you have to be able to take one of those things to be able to get back. Brett wanted to do the ferry, so we got in the ferry line. It was really, really long because of all of the people exiting at the same time, but it was fun. So once we were finished with the whole entire park and got off of the ferry, it was probably like 11:40, and then we got back to our resort by midnight. So it was a very, very long day. Like I said, I was up at like 6:30, and then we had our nap in the middle of the day, and then midnight. And as soon as we got home, everybody conked, and then slept the next day until after 8:30. So it was great and we loved it, but there were definitely some highs and there were some lows, and just craziness. And that's what you get with having little kids and taking them to something like that. But honestly, I wouldn't change it for the world. They had such a blast, and so did I. Like, it was so much fun being able to do it and just seeing the looks on all of their faces, getting to do all of these rides. And we took so many photos and videos, which I normally don't do. I'm not huge into taking photos and videos. I just forget to do it in the moment, but I knew I wanted to make memories there and then be able to keep them for me to look at and for the kids to look at. So I made a point to be able to keep my phone out as much as possible to remember all the things. So I hope this video is able to help somebody. If you have any questions, let me know. But it was such a fun time, and I totally recommend doing Magic Kingdom when your kids are little. There's just something so magical about seeing the world through their eyes and the beauty that is Disney. So I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know if you have any other questions. Bye.